Good evening. Good evening. Good evening to those of you who are gathered here. Good evening. I was trying to give a little more time, even though we are late getting on. And I apologize for that. But you'll understand why when we begin the conversation tonight. But I was trying to give a little more time for others who might want to tune in. You'll notice that tonight's Diving Deep is not exclusive. It is public, broadcasting on YouTube as well as on Facebook. Because what I have to share with you tonight is, well, those of you who are partners with Emerge, you are very much aware because I've spoken about it a couple of times, but what I saw today, I felt the urgency of the divine to come on and discuss and disclose more, and to kind of alert everyone to something that is on the horizon. Without any fanfare, without a lot of hoopla and jumping up and down and yelling and screaming, I want to relate to you very clearly what I saw very clearly in a vision, what had been told to me during my fast at the end of the year, the beginning of this year, and then reinforced with this vision today. So I wanted to come on and without any fanfare and just share more clearly, more definitively with everyone. And I realize that what I am going to say may sound crazy to some. It may sound unbelievable to others. It may sound scary to some. And some may just say, well, you know, that's the ranting of an old man. Okay. But for those of you who know me, you know I am not prone to hyperbole. I'm not hyperbolic. And you know that if I tell you that the Lord has shown me something, that I've seen it, that I've heard it, and I say to you, this is what's going to happen, you can put your foot on it. You can count on it, okay? You can bank on it. It's going to unfold exactly the way that I say. And so tonight I'm going to share that. I'm going to ask those of you who are on, or everybody that's watching on whatever platform you're on, to take a moment and share this live with as many people as you possibly can, and invite them to come and be a part of this conscious conversation and to hear this prophetic utterance tonight. I'm not going to be on long, at least I don't think I am. I don't think I'm going to be on here very long, just long enough to get the message across and to impress upon you how important it is, how substantial it is, how imperative it is. So, and when I'm done, I'm done. I don't intend to prolong or stretch it out and certainly not veer off into anything else. With everything else that's happening around us, it's very easy to get distracted. And it's important that those of us who are aligned harmoniously with the kingdom of God, the spirit world, the movements of the universe and all of nature, the strategic movements of the constellations and the whispers of the angels and ancestors, that it's imperative that we keep our focus on what is right in front of us and what is unfolding in front of us. I have said to you, those of you who are partners, I don't think I've talked very much about this on a public platform, but I've said to the partners that we are in the midst of a global paradigm shift, where the mode of operation, the way that humanity has operated and functioned for centuries now, is undergoing a dramatic shift and a dramatic change. That every pillar of influence throughout society, throughout humanity, is going to be impacted and affected by this shift. And this shift is not a bad thing, it's a good thing. It is an evolutionary leap for all of humanity, that globally humanity is preparing to step into a new way of thinking and a new way of operating and a new perception, not only of themselves, but then everyone else around them. That we are truly becoming more of a global community, not divided by the imaginary lines that have been drawn by men over the centuries, but starting to understand that we are all interconnected with each other, that we are all emanations from the divine progenitor of all humankind, that is God, the all of everything, and that each of us are a divine expression of God in human form, that we are not trying to get to God, but as much as we are trying to uncover and reveal our own divinity, because God is as close to each and every one of us as our own breath. God is not some old man sitting on a throne far above us, sitting high, looking low, with a scepter in his hand and a book. But God is a divine, omniscient, omnipresent, omniactive, omnipotent spirit, an unstoppable force that lives in us, through us, and as us. In God we live, we move, and we have our very existence, our being. Okay? And so when God decides that it's time for humanity to shift forward, to evolve forward, to leap forward, then this is what is understood as a true paradigm shift. It's not just one particular sector, one particular area, one particular agency that is shifting, but every pillar of influence, every mountain of influence, every area of influence in humanity is shifting, from business to education to religion or spirituality to family. Okay? All of them are shifting. Mass media, entertainment, every area of influence is impacted by this shift. However, ladies and gentlemen, Shift does not come and does not unfold, does not take place without tumult. It does not happen in a vacuum. It's not abracadabra, hocus pocus. It means that in order for humanity to shift, for all of humanity, the global community, to dramatically move forward, there is a letting go of what has been in exchange for what is emerging. And that kind of transitional experience is never without resistance, without upheaval, and what looks like chaos and confusion. And right now, the entire globe looks and feels like it is in the throes of the most chaotic time in the history of the world. That there are so many different international events that have the potential to create catastrophic outcomes for humanity, are all simultaneously taking place at one time. Okay, here in the United States, in Russia, in China, all the world's superpowers, the European Union, in the United States, like I said, in Russia, in China, in Canada, in the Middle East, that we are seeing dramatic and seemingly chaotic shifts take place, and especially in Africa. And I keep saying, those who are partners have heard me say it over and over again, you need to keep your eye on Africa, because there is something emerging out of Africa that is going to set the tone and set the pace for where the entire global community is going. As goes Africa, so goes the rest of humanity. And the fact that for the first time that we are now seeing these African nations and countries rising up, resisting European powers and colonization, and beginning now to form a union that will eventually evolve into one united Africa, all 54 countries and provinces and all of the different nations and tribes coming together around some basic principles of humanity that are going to have an outsized effect on the entire global community. So, this kind of shifting does not take place without having to deal with what feels like chaos, confusion on in every area and every facet of humanity's existence. And what I came to share with you tonight is something that was spoken to me back in December, well, actually November, leading into December, and then I started talking about it amongst the partners in December. I have not mentioned it on a public platform. On the public platform, I'll be doing that for the first time tonight, only because of what I saw today, and I felt the urgency of the Spirit of God within me saying that I needed to address this, speak about it publicly. And I don't mind telling you, I'm a little bit nervous about it, because it is, man, I'm stepping out there, but I am certain of the assignment that I've been given. Okay, so back in the latter part of November, the beginning of December, I began to talk prophetically to the partners about things that we could expect in 2026. I began to give them a list of different events that will occur. The partners that are on here, you know about that list, and we've talked about different things on there. and I've told you that you could watch for this on these particular dates. I laid out certain patterns and principles that we have been able to notice unfolding and watching them come into place. I tied it together with the prophecies that I've spoken to the partners, and some of them publicly, way back in 2019 and leading into 2020, and then during the time of the pandemic, and speaking prophetically and apostolically about what the meaning of that pandemic was, why it was taking place, and all of the events that were happening beneath the surface, if you will, that was preparing us for a shift. And that when we stepped in to 2020, that we were stepping into a new era, a new age, the age of Aquarius, where Pluto was going to reside in Aquarius for 20 years. And I began to talk about how what that meant and how important it was, and how important it was that we began to prepare ourselves, and that we set a pace and set a stride and set our intentions, because the choices and decisions that we were making at that time were going to be those that would impact our lives for the next 20 years. And then I began to talk about the fact that we would begin a transitional period of a global paradigm shift that would span about 10 years, from 2020 to 2030. Well, later this last year, we reached the halfway mark of that expansion, of that transition, that shifting that was taking place. And I began to go through and enumerate the things that I had said were going to come to pass, and showing them how they have all come to pass, every single one of them, and how much more chaotic things were going to get. And now we have stepped into 2026. I'm generalizing a lot of the other things from before, because I'm trying to get to the point of what I want to talk about to you or reveal to you tonight. So if some of what I'm saying in the generalization of leading up to that, it doesn't seem clear, I encourage you to become partners. All of the videos are in the partner portal on Patreon, and you're able to go back and watch those videos and get the full scope of everything that was discussed over these past 5 years leading into this 6th year. Okay? This year is a universal 10 year. 2 plus 0 plus 2 plus 6 equals 10. If you reduce it, it reduces down to 1. But that 1 and the 0 are quite important, because they represent the womb of new birth, change, evolution, new cycles, new beginnings, and the fertilization thereof, the 1 being the phallus and the 0 being the womb, the procreation of a new cycle, new structure, new beginning in the earth realm. That we are stepping into a divine reset and a divine cycle that closes the old way of being, functioning, thinking, and acting, and moving into this new structure, this new cycle, this new system that will govern all of humanity. This is not a religious thing. This is not a denominational thing. This is not for just church folk. This is everyone. Okay? Please understand that God's focus is not on any one particular people. God's focus is on all of humanity. And that's a whole nother conversation that I won't even get into in this night tonight, because it takes me away from the focused assignment. Okay, so this is something that impacts the entire global community, and that everything, as I said, every sphere, every pillar of influence is going to be is being dramatically impacted by this global paradigm shift. I also revealed that in this time, we are seeing a Laodicean and Philadelphia overlap. For those of you who are familiar with the text in the Bible, Revelations chapter 2, where it begins to speak about the church of Laodicea and the church of Philadelphia, do know that he's not talking about a particular church as we know it, but more in the universal sense. He is talking about humanity and those who are willing to align with the divine transcendence and shifting that is taking place in the earth, and those who are married and clinging to the old cycle and the old way of operating. I want to point out, as I did to the partners, that most people miss the real indictment that's found when the Christ describes the Laodicean church. The focus is usually on them being what is called lukewarm, neither hot nor cold. That they were kind of, straddled the fence. That is not the real indictment of the text. If you will allow me for just a moment to explain, because it ties in to what I'm going to reveal to you tonight. The real indictment in that text is found in 3 simple words: and knoweth not. That's the indictment. And knoweth not. It's couched in a statement where, when Jesus is the Christ is speaking to the Laodicean church about them being lukewarm, neither hot nor cold. I would that you were hot or cold, but because you are lukewarm, I will spew you out of my mouth. That's all symbolic, and it has some other symbolic and metaphoric meaning and interpretation that I won't get into tonight. But he makes this statement that is biting, that is an indictment. He says to the Laodiceans, the problem is not that you are lukewarm. The problem is not that you are in between. The problem is not that you are just misaligned. Here is the problem, he says. He says the problem is you think that you are rich and increased with goods and have need of nothing. Here's the indictment. And knoweth not, there it is, that you are naked and miserable and poor. The indictment of the text is not that you are lukewarm, not that you are dysfunctional, indecisive, not that you are broken or naked or even poor or scattered or lost. He says, but the indictment is that you don't even realize the state that you're in. That you can't see clearly your reflection in the mirror. That you don't see where you are and who you are and the state that you are in. It's one thing to be lukewarm. It's quite another to be delusional to the point of thinking that I'm on fire. There's the indictment. There's the indictment. And I say to those of you who are listening to me right now, the overlap between Laodicea and Philadelphia is this, that simultaneously coexisting at the same time will be those who are aligned and attuned to what God is unfolding, doing, and the shifting that is taking place. And there will be those who are so entrenched and married to the old ideologies and beliefs, those indoctrinations, that they will delude themselves into thinking that they are on fire, that they are right, that they are aligned, that they are in tune and in step with God, and not even be consciously aware of just how broken and lost and naked, exposed they really are. They'll begin to justify their actions, their thoughts, their behaviors. They'll begin to romanticize the old cycles. It was good enough for mother, good enough for daddy, good enough for me, old time religion, old this, that, and the other. We need to go back. We need to go back. We need to revisit and this, that, all of those things. And create this idea that the problem is not the one constant in the universe, which is change, that needs to be embraced, but that the problem is that we are changing too much and we need to return to the old way, to the old wells, to the old paths, to the old systems, to the old cycles, to the old doctrines, to the old beliefs that imprisoned and bound us. Religion is a bondage. I know people don't like hearing it, but it is an absolute truth. Religion and all of its dogma, doctrine, and ideology is bondage. It is such severe bondage, it borderlines on mental illness, because you become so entrenched in the rhetoric that you delude yourself, even in the face of indisputable facts, historical facts, scientific facts. You will say, well, I know what the facts say, but I still believe this. This is what Bishop so-and-so and Reverend so-and-so and my mama and grandmama taught me, and and I read in the Bible, And so the true indictment of many who are a part of the modern day religious movements, and notice I said religious movements, I'm not talking about just the church. This bleeds across all religions, from Christianity to Islam to Buddhism to Hinduism to Taoism and every other ism that exists. All of them, every single one of them, promote bondage, because all of them have the need to proselytize, and all of them have the idea that we are right and everybody else is wrong. We are the chosen and everybody else is lost. As crazy as that sounds, that's the ideology of all of the religions, that the universal, all-powerful, all-knowing, omnipotent, omniscient, omnipresent, omniactive God can be confined to a religion birthed out of the minds of men. That divine creator can somehow be confined and constrained to their particular religious ideology, and every other being on the planet is wrong, and that they have what they consider divine assignment of proselytizing as many people as they can to find the lost and bring them to their idea of light. Every single one. As fiercely as Christians defend their ideologies and beliefs and label everyone else from Islam to the monks that are marching for peace and as demons and devils and wrong and lost, each of them are just as vehement in their belief that they are right and everyone else is wrong. That is the Laodicean mindset. It's a delusional place to be in. And to shake us out of that place, the tumultuous feeling like chaotic anarchy that is taking place is a necessity to awaken humanity and shake us away from those things. And I'm telling you, this is not the prophecy that I want to share with you tonight, but I can tell you right now that these religious orders are coming to naught. They will still coexist. They will still function as skeletons of themselves, but more and more people are awakening to the reality that God is within them, and that they don't have to be tied and tethered to a particular religious ideology or doctrinal idea in order to have a true alignment and relationship with God. I'm telling you, that's why you're seeing such a mass exodus away from religion, and more people are gravitating and finding God, if you will, because even though God is not lost, but finding God outside of religion. They had to leave religion in order to find God. Okay, so this necessitates the kind of violent, vehement shaking and tumultuous situations, circumstances, and occurrences and events throughout the global community to shake us loose. Everything that can be shaken shall be shaken. And the shaking is taking place, but it is not a shaking of judgment. It is not a shaking of destruction. It is a shaking to awaken humanity so that we can take this next evolutionary step forward. And part of that shaking, and now I'm going to get to the point of this live tonight. Man, that was a long introduction. Great day. I've already been on here talking for over 38, 40 minutes. So let me try and get to it. Is that what is one of the things that is going to arise is another global pandemic. I want you to hear me clearly. And I am not trying to scare anyone. I am not fear-mongering. And I know that this is like not what anybody wants to hear. But I'm telling you that we are approaching another global pandemic that will far surpass the level of chaos, confusion, pain, and death that the first pandemic visited upon the earth. This was spoken to me back in the latter part of November, the first part of December, and I began to talk to the partners about it and tell them to prepare themselves for it. Well, today, while I was out and about, taking care of my normal business during the day, and I was in my car at a red light, and immediately I was taken into a vision. And what felt like I had been sitting in this vision, watching it unfold, what felt like hours was literally only seconds. Because when I came to myself, back to my conscious awareness of this dimension, the light was just turning green. Okay? So it clearly had only been a short period of time that I was sitting there at the red light. But what I heard before was about this pandemic, that it would be global, that it would be far more reaching, far more deadly, far more catastrophic than the one before. What I saw today was a visible presentation of what that will look like. I saw bodies being buried in mass graves. I saw body bags stacking up, and that they didn't have the type of equipment and refrigeration units in place to accommodate the number of bodies. I saw this disease taking the life of people in rapid form. They were contracted, and not months, weeks, but days later, they will transition out. This is going to be extremely contagious, airborne. Listen to me, and I know what this sounds like, and I tremble to even say it. But it is a calculated orchestration of those who are in power. When I say in power, I don't just mean in the United States. I want you to listen to what I'm saying. I need you to open your mind and recognize that there are powers and powerful people who sit at the levers of power throughout the globe that are outside of the United States. There are some here, but there are others as well. And they meet regularly, and I'm not talking about like the Illuminati and all that nonsense, okay? This is more like a secret gathering of the world's most powerful people. And their goal is to decrease the population of the earth, they think, for some service to humanity. It's not. They literally believe that they are orchestrating a service to humanity, but it is not. And they are going to release this virus into the earth, in the atmosphere. And immediately, people are going to begin to have sickness, respiratory problems, unable to breathe. Those with comorbidities are going to experience dramatic sickness. And it won't be for weeks and months. It would be a matter of days before they transition. And here's the thing. They already have a cure. They will run around and pretend as though they do not know what's happening and like they are searching to find it, but they already have a cure. I know what this sounds like. But those who know me know I am not given to hyperbolic language. I am not a crazy person. I am not a crazy conspiracy theorist, nutcase. I am telling you what I both heard and saw. And I am putting myself on the line by coming out saying this publicly because, immediately even I thought, well, what if it doesn't happen? I'll look like a fool. Of course, that's a natural feeling and response to have. But I am absolutely certain about what I heard and what I saw. So much death and pain, indiscriminate. So it was not like it affected one particular pocket of society. It will affect all of humanity globally. And there will be literally millions who will die as a result of this pandemic. And they already have a cure, but they have a certain number that they want to hit, a certain number of deaths before they introduce the cure or the vaccine. And don't be silly and like, oh, I don't believe in these vaccines and stuff like that. They trying to poison us. No, the poison is the virus. The vaccine will actually be a real cure that they already have in hand. But their goal is to reduce the global population. And they feel like they are doing a service to humanity by doing so. What they are unaware of is that this will be one of the 3 final shakings during these next 4 years from 26 to 2030, 2026 to 2030. There are 3 more. This will be one of those final 3 global shakings that will awaken society, awaken humanity. And there will be a spiritual, economic, social awakening throughout the globe that will be so consequential it will shift the very dynamic of human existence on this planet. And I saw spiritual as well as secular voices emerging during this period of time. People that have been in obscurity. They are not well known. They are not your favorite preacher, your favorite teacher, your favorite scientist. You've never heard of them. But they are going to emerge from the shadows as the voices of reason and giving us guidance and direction. And this awakening will bring about spiritual reform, governmental reform, economic reform, relational, societal reform, educational reform, business reform. It will reform every part of humanity. This will be the first of 3 other major shakings to awaken humanity and to catapult all of humankind forward, taking a quantum leap forward in our evolutionary journey. I hadn't looked at a single comment. Let me go over here. Okay. So, yes, And Kimura, you are on point. You are on point. So that is essentially it. I feel like I could say more, but I think I've said enough. To inform us so that we can begin to prepare. Listen to me, it is vitally important in these coming months that you get your physical health in order, especially those of you who have severe comorbidities. You need to take the drastic measures necessary to begin to take care of yourself, to get yourself in a healthier state of being. The partners know that I've given them some instructions about preparing strategically an exit plan as well as a survival plan, depending upon where you are and what you are able to do, what your economic situation is, because there's something that's going to arise in the United States where many of us are going to leave this country and have to leave for a period of time before returning. We'll be able to return, but it will be dangerous to be here, and others who may not be able to, but you can have a survival strategy. That involves you're learning how to survive, going back to bartering, learning how to farm, and that return us to the soil because of the catastrophic events that are going to take place here. And I've also been giving them some financial strategies that they should follow so that they can prepare for the kind of economic upheaval that is going to take place, as well as economic opportunities that will come as a result of what is going to take place. But I want to say to those of you who are listening to me tonight that it is imperative that you get your health in order, your health house in order. You can't afford to continue to eat all of these processed foods and unhealthy foods and not exercising, not taking care of yourself, not doing the necessary things to align your body harmoniously and giving it the opportunity to heal itself. You have to really begin to shift your mindset about how you take care of the body temple. This is your temple. This is your temple. And while everybody is easily distracted, all in arms about Drewski and about a dress from a pastor's wife and all this other nonsense, it's just, we're so easily distracted, and that becomes the topic of the day, and everybody's talking about it with all of these big, huge things that are happening around us that are catastrophic, that have such global reach and impact. And we worried about a skit that a comedian did. And you feel like you need to write a whole soliloquy in defense of the church over a skit. It's utter nonsense. It's utter nonsense. I want you to begin to awaken and look forward and recognize what is unfolding right in front of us. Right in front of us. Again, I could say more, but this is as much as I'm led to say tonight, because I want to keep the main thing, and not crowd your space with a whole lot of other revelation or insight that I have concerning some things that are unfolding. This pandemic, this pandemic will be devastating but you can prepare yourself and avoid the harmful effects by getting your medical, physical house in order. Do it right now. This is not a New Year's resolution. This is about saving your life, saving your family's life, your children and children's children, grandchildren's lives. Okay? You live in the information age. You walk around with a supercomputer in your hand all the time. Even though Verizon's going through an outage right now, so all of us up here on this end of the planet have been without our cell phones all day long because they have an outage going on. Still don't have any real signal. Oh, wait a minute, I just looked at my phone. So it's showing the bars. I don't know whether it's the signal's been restored or not, but it's showing something. It's been SOS all day long. But you walk around with this supercomputer in your hand and you have access to unlimited knowledge. So you don't need, it's okay to get a dietitian or a nutritionist, but you can become your own. You can use ChatGPT or some of these other tools that are out there to begin to formulate and put together a strategic, healthy plan to really start to rebuild and restore and strengthen your health. It is important to do so because this is going to happen this year. It is going to happen this year. We have a few months to prepare. And I implore you to begin to get your physical, medical house in order. Okay. All right. I'm just trying to see if there was anything else that I needed to cover. So that's it. That's all. Thank you for listening. I hope you take heed. My inbox is open. Those of you who have my phone number, you can text me. Well, maybe tomorrow once they get these phones working right. But you can email me. And for those of you watching, let me see if I can put that up. Yeah. I think I have it here. Oh, no, I don't. I thought I had something with my email address on it that I could put on the screen. Well, you can go to our website scrolling at the bottom, emergelec.com, and the email address is there. You can email me. You can inbox me. You can, if you have my number, you can text me with any questions or concerns that you have, and I'll be more than willing to address them as soon as I can. I have a lot of people reaching out to me, so please don't get upset if I don't respond right away. I've got to work my way through all of the people that are reaching out with questions and concerns at the same time. Okay? If you are not a partner with Emerge, if you're not in the Patreon, I encourage you to become a part of the Emerge Patreon. We have a free tier, and there's a lot of information that is available on that free tier. And then there is the silver tier, which is a paid partnership, where there's so much more that I share with those paid partners who are a part of the Emerge partnership program. So I invite you to become a part of our Patreon. Run over and take a look at it. Click the link and go and take a look and become a partner today. All right. So thank you for tuning in. I love you all. And I am excited about the evolutionary process that is unfolding for all of humanity.
even afraid to dream, afraid to imagine. But I'm here to tell you that you are an infinite, limitless, boundless being. Are you willing to do what is necessary to have what you desire?
You've been listening to Apostle Isaac Miles, the disruptive innovator, a mentor, an author, a motivational speaker, an entrepreneur, and the founder and spiritual director at Emerge LEC Life Enrichment Center. Please take a minute to subscribe, like, and share this page. If you'd like to become a partner, you can do so by emailing us at emerge.lifecenter@gmail.com. Again, that's emerge.lifecenter@gmail.com. Once again, thank you for watching.